Today we're going to talk about what it takes to take a real friendship and make it deep. This is something that is really truly important for people who are in their young adulthood. Kids who are in junior high school and college can sometimes have real difficult time figuring out how to make this happen. So that is what we are going to discuss in today's video. The first thing that we need to understand is that for someone to actually understand us, or even want to get to know us, it's really helpful for us to be ourselves, to be honest and authentic in how you are speaking about that which is you. However, there's a bit of an art to it in that we don't want to be so transparent as to tell someone on their first interaction with us all our deep, dark secrets, all our psychological and psychiatric problems, all of the problems that we're dealing with, period. You know what? No one needs to hear any of that stuff when they first meet you. That comes later. The first thing you need to do is be interested in the other person, because truthfully, that's their favorite subject, talking about themselves. So ask them about what they're interested in, what they're doing, what their hopes are for their future. Any cool things they might have done recently. There's 1,000,001 questions that we can ask this person that we're just getting to know to find out who they are and the things that interest them and if we click. Because you know what? We're not going to click with everybody, and everyone's not going to click with us, and that's just fine. We all have our peeps. And you know who they are because you do click with them. You know? It feels like you've known them forever and ever. But in order for this to happen, you need to be honest about who you are and what you care about so they can get an understanding of who you are and what you care about. Maybe even why you care about the things that you care about or what your interests are. Things of this nature. And then over time, you can go deeper as you get to know them better and they get to know you better. And little by little, you're going to open up about your deeper life. But you want to take time with this. Now, this is another really important thing. No one wants to have clingy friends. And no one wants to be ignored by their friends. So it's about having a happy medium. Now, there's a lot of times when people will call and call and call. They just want you all the time. Well, a lot of times these are not the healthiest people in the world. So my suggestion is to back off and spend less time with them because they're demonstrating how needy they are, and no one wants to be a needy person. If you are this needy person yourself, and you know if you are, yes you do, then I highly suggest that you give people space. If they like you, the friendship will develop. If not, that's okay. There's a lot of other people out there, and take into consideration that no one wants to feel swallowed up by another personality. Trust me on this. I had a friend many, many years ago who had asked me to come over to her apartment to help her with some project, and by the time we were done doing that project, there were another 4 or 5 added to it, and yes, I did back off on that friendship. I had to ask myself, whose life was I living, hers or mine? Seriously? Important to know. You're living your life, not someone else's, okay? Very, very important. Which gets me to the whole concept of opinions versus facts. You know, it's okay for people to disagree respectfully with one another's perspective. I disagree with, I don't know, probably 98% of the people who do mental health out there. I don't agree with the way that they do their work. I don't agree with a lot of the techniques that they use. I don't believe in a lot of the theories that they base it on. I do agree with a few, but most of them I don't. And frankly, I believe that most of them have really too many problems of their own to be able to help anybody, really. And that comes across in my clients and what they have to say about their licensed practitioners before they came to see me. And I'm okay with that. So sometimes these people get upset with me when I write stuff on Quora. It just happened again today when there was some question that was posted probably a couple years ago now about Dr. Phil and Dr. Laura and what they do and how the professional people view them. And I say that they are basically extorting other people's pain to profit in a very unhealthy way. You cannot sum up a person's problems in a half-an-hour TV show. I don't care how good you are at it, and nor does it really belong in TV. Or radio, for that matter. Dr. Laura's just obnoxious. I can't stand her. In any case, it's just an example to let you know that it's okay. And what I did with this woman was I just let her know why I felt the way that I felt based on my experiences with my clients and the long-standing great lives they're leading now, because in this case, I wasn't willing to demean them or further stigmatize them because of the problems they had. Because I know that no one comes out of their mother's vagina with a lot of these really toxic behaviors. I mean, she was talking about some person who she had to go to jail and evaluate who had raped a 6-year-old kid. Well, my response to that is, who raped him when he was 6 years old or younger? Every victimizer was a victim, and we never can forget that. You always have to have the hope that they will be able to be healed. Not all of them can be, but many can. We get ourselves out of the equation as the practitioner. And that goes for friendship as well. Please, never read your friend's mind. And more especially your boyfriend. Because I can tell you this, as well as you think you know what's going on in another person's mind, you don't. I found this out the hard way when it came to my 20-plus year marriage and it disintegrating. Because there were things that were going on that I didn't know until it was a bit too late. But actually, the truth of the matter is I don't want to be married to somebody who doesn't want to be married to me. That doesn't work either, and that's another lesson for you all. He and I are really good friends. We're much better friends than we are married, for many different reasons. Sometimes it's just better to allow a relationship to be what it needs to be instead of forcing it to be something that it's not because you have some fairy tale concept of what it is. Trust me, there's too many relationships between significant others, I'll put it that way, that are really unhealthy in one way or another. If you cannot respect, trust, and love up your significant other, you don't deserve them. But it all starts with loving, respecting, and loving up yourself first. Because whatever you have inside is what's going to get projected out into the world, for better or for worse. So I want you to think about friendship as being about getting to know another person, learning about them, and if you respect them, even if you don't hold the same opinions on things. It is going to be important to have similar values, though, because otherwise you won't agree on anything and it will be really hard to have conversations. But having different opinions can actually bring up some really interesting conversations and some learning, as long as you have an open mind and you're willing to learn from one another. Because this is the other thing. Nobody wants to have someone else's opinions jammed down their throat, including you. So, state your opinion as an opinion. If you have facts, you need to base them on facts that you can back up with research someplace. And go from there. But most of all, friendship is about having fun and being able to be yourself while you're having fun. Doing those things that you so enjoy doing, whatever those things are, I'm not an athlete at all. I'm so freaking uncoordinated, it's not funny. But I relate to people who are interested in having deeper conversations about ideas and the different things that I'm interested in, like how the mind works, both physiologically and psychiatrically, psychologically, in terms of interactions with people, and how the body, mind, and spirit all work together, or learning about people and the cultures from which they come by actually going to the cultures and living among them instead of going to some stupid resort. Shouldn't really say that I'll be working at a resort soon. But if you're going to be traveling to get an experience, best to be in the culture itself. You learn so much more that way. I know that. And to go to cultures that are as different as they can be from your own, because that's when the real learning takes place. Yes, indeed. Can you see this little Jewish woman? I'm only 5 feet tall. Being in Nairobi, true story, by the way, Kenya, with people as dark-skinned as I am white, in a church with a bunch of 17, 18, 19, and 20-year-old females, speaking to them about sexual abstinence. It was a church I was in, okay? And I had to find a way to be able to relate to them, and all I could tell them was, you know what? This is good advice for you guys too, actually. If any man comes up to you and tells you how much they love you, and then they just want to put their little dick inside your body, you need to ask yourself whether or not raising their baby once they decide to take off on you is what you actually want for your future. Because until they have the financing and you know that you each love one another, and I would highly, highly, highly suggest you get married if you're going to have a child with anybody. There's more legal responsibilities there. Then don't do it. Raising a baby is not easy. It's really expensive, 24/7 care, and they don't really care if you're in the mood or if you want to go party with your friends. You bring that kid into your life, that's your responsibility. Well, those kids were really grateful I was there. Not to tell them what they shouldn't do, because I don't have a right to tell them that, but to tell them why they need to think through why they may or may not want to go forward with that particular situation. And that was part of being in the culture that was totally different than my own. One aspect of it. So there's many things that we can do. And by the way, being over here at the International School of the University of Haifa here in Israel, I met the coolest younger people. They were all like 20 to almost 30 years younger than me, fellow students in my class. They came from Eastern Europe. We had a person from Ukraine, another one from Russia, so, USSR when it broke apart. Very different places now, yes. We had a guy from North Nigeria and another one from South Nigeria, very different personalities, and there's a lot of problems between that country, the North and South, in terms of the values and where their respective leaders want to bring them. And then we had people from India and people from China and Korea, all kinds of places in Asia, and a few from the United States. I don't recall having anyone in my classes actually from South or Central America or Mexico, interestingly enough. But there was a wide enough variety to really learn so much about them and their culture and why it is that they were the way that they were in terms of their behaviors and their values. Most especially the Arabs and the Palestinians, who could be Christian or Muslim, who are in the class as well. Because we were studying peace and conflict management, right? Very, very interesting and really, really helpful to get a better view of the greater world. That's what it takes to create really deep friendships, folks. Having an open mind, being willing to ask the questions, listen to the answers, and be empathetic to people in their position in this world. They may not have had it as well as you. Or maybe they were financially better off growing up than you, but maybe emotionally they didn't get anything from their family that one would consider emotion in terms of healthy emotional interaction. So a lot of parents, unfortunately, don't have the ability to give that to their kids. They never received it from their own parents. So empathy, validation, true interest, and an open mind. And of course, having a lot of fun with the people with whom you interact, making it be easy to get on with them. If it's too conflictual, it's not a good friendship. Let it go. Move on to someone better. But if you are able to really be interested and you can feel the soul of another person, oh my God, I went up to north of Vermont a couple of summers ago. And I don't do camping, but in this situation, I had this big, huge tent. I could stand in it. It was that tall. It was really lovely. And it was really huge, big, huge platform. I could put all my stuff that I had with me out there, like right next to me, all my clothes and stuff. So I was able to unpack. And it was actually up like on a riser about 3 stairs up, so I didn't have to worry about mud or anything. Anyway, the person who invited me to stay there in that particular tent for that particular week, I needed to get away, given the stress that I was under, had the most soulful eyes. Soulful human being. And it had turned out that he had traveled the world for 5 years and studied under shamans all over the world, with just his necessities in a backpack, including a hammock in which to sleep when he couldn't couch surf somewhere. Couch surfing is what you do to stay in a place when you don't have any money, and people just open up their homes to you to learn about you and your culture. And they show you around and do all the things that natives do. It's really awesome. So he was, and still remains, the most soulful person I've ever met in my entire life. Not so much because he stayed with the shamans, but because of his really, really soulful personality and those eyes. Oh my God, to die for those eyes. I can see them as well today as I did when I was there with him a few years ago now. So yeah, our friends, they're really important. They're good friends. Because the other aspect of friendship is this. If they get into a crisis and they need you for something, it is your job as their friend to be there to help them out. Just as they're there to help you out if you have a problem. And let me tell you, I've had friends who helped me out in some really, really scary and some very complicated situations with my mom and her health needs and housing needs at one point as well. Financial stuff through the years as well. I mean, I can't even tell you, I have the best friends in the world. They're like family to me because they're just there. And some of them are so there, they intuit when I might need something, and especially what it is. That's a true friend. And that's the kind of friendship you want to develop. But it all starts with asking them questions and being interested in what they have to say, about who they are, what they care about, and what they're interested in. Because this is the other thing, folks. True love, when in friendship, happens when you're interested in what the other person is doing and thinking and feeling, when you care enough to be present. That means phones off and put away and spending your time eye to eye and soul to soul with them. Heart-to-heart conversations can happen only in this way. You have a phone going off every 3 seconds, you're sitting there texting in front of the person. Guess what? It's the most disrespectful thing to do, and you don't deserve to have that person in front of you again, in my estimation. Turn the thing off, put it away, and just be there with your friend. Because you know what? That friend might just share something so important to your life that you never even knew was coming. Just in having that sacred space between the two of you, I've had that happen to me on more occasions than I can imagine. Because I don't have my phone on. I don't have it with me when I meet with my friends, generally speaking. There's nothing that can't wait, even if someone's having a really hard time. Meeting one of my clients. The only exception to that rule is if I know I'm dealing with a suicidal case. Other than that, everybody else can wait until I am available. Because there's work time, and there's playtime, and there's relate time. There you go. How to make deep relationships. Go out there and go make a few for yourself, and you're going to have a much better, happier, fulfilled life. I can promise you that. And thank you very much for watching the video. And look forward to having you come by to see some more as I get them posted. Bye-bye. Oh, and do subscribe if you found something of value in here and share it with your friends. Thank you very much.